We had to share this story for Easter week. Miraculous healings are occurring in Israel at the Garden Tomb, the location that many believe to be the site of Jesus' resurrection. Paul Strand brings us the story.
The great miracle of Jesus Christ's resurrection took place right here in the Garden Tomb, or one much like it. But the miracles didn't stop then. They still go on today, and even right here. Cesar Fleitas works here and recalls a time when a man from Romania came here who had incredibly poor eyesight. Then this man walked into the tomb.
He wanted to look at the symbol that is inside the tomb, the symbol of a cross that has the Greek letters, and he wasn't able to make out the symbol very well, so he removed his glasses, and then all of a sudden he was able to see perfectly. I hear the men screaming inside the tomb saying, I can see, I can see. Of course, he was speaking in Romanian. His pastor, who was standing nearby, he translated for me. He said, he can see.
Another miracle that took place involved a boy who suffered from hydrocephalus, an abnormal and dangerous buildup of fluid deep in the brain. Now, every year his family came from Ecuador to the Garden Tomb. This young man, Giancarlo Rodriguez, was that little boy, and back then he was paralyzed from the waist down due to the hydrocephalus.
20 plus years ago, they came as a family. They brought the son inside the tomb, and as they were praying, all of a sudden they hear their son crying. The husband turned around to look back to see what was going on, and then all of a sudden they see their son standing there. And that was the miracle. The healing took place at that moment.
Before that healing, Giancarlo's sister had lost her faith.
She couldn't understand why God would allow such a thing to happen to her brother. But then after she saw the healing that God performed in her brother's body, that became the turning point in her life.
I simply want to say that Giancarlo is proof that God is real.
As for Giancarlo's whole family now,
they're all involved in ministry, serving the Lord.
Liz Tingman chronicles signs and wonders that happen at the Garden Tomb. She told CBN News about Pastor Hobson Laura. He'd suffered an extremely painful, unending headache since he was 13. Then in 2010, this 48-year-old visited the tomb.
He suddenly was overwhelmed with this uncontrollable urge to weep as he went into the tomb. And then he came out and he went on to the area over here near the olive trees, and he said he just held on to an olive tree because he was weeping uncontrollably. And he said he was praying for 40 minutes. And when the weeping stopped, he realized that he was healed. He had no headache. And he'd had this headache since the age of 13.
Fleitas experienced his own miracle when a visiting Brazilian pastor came out of the tomb insisting God just told him to pray for Fleitas' healing. Little did he know, Fleitas had been suffering from sharp liver pains for years.
And he looked at me and he said to me, I want you to understand that the power comes from the Lord. It is the Lord God Almighty that heals you. And then he anointed me with oil and he prayed over me. And that sharp pain that I was experiencing was gone, completely gone.
And forever?
Yes, it's gone.
Tingman also recalled a Japanese non-believer who a guide took around, starting at the overlook of Skull Hill, where many believe Christ was crucified.
And she took her to Skull Hill and explained about Calvary and so on. And this woman said, she spoke English, she said, I know nothing about Jesus Christ. Tell me more. She went into the tomb, and my colleague said when she was in the tomb, she was visibly moved. Something was moving her, and she was weeping actually. And she said, I can see him. And my friend said, what can you see? She said, I see a man with a crown on his head. Now this is a woman who didn't know anything about the gospel stories. And she said, it's not a gold crown. And she began to describe a crown of thorns on this man's head that she was seeing.
If you don't know this Jesus Christ, well, we Christians believe that he can save you, heal you, perform a miracle for you right now on the spot. All you have to do is pray and ask him. That's the good news of Easter. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Garden Tomb, Jerusalem.